And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Al Bob. Here I am outside Mexico City's train station. And we're going to do a guided meditation here. So put yourself in a comfortable spot, sit yourself back, and relax. Don't let any of the illusions of the material world get you down. Wars, rumors of war. They've been talking about that for a long time. That was President Bush crying there. Anyway, how you doing? Anyone want to say, there's Stubby there? Any comments on the shows of late? Any comments on what's going on in the world? Any comments? What's going on in your life? How you doing? How you feeling? What's up? Give me the 411. So anyway, I can't think of anything else to say except start to breathe deep. Let your body relax. Let it go. Don't worry about anything. Nothing matters but love. See it all clearly. You're breathing in the prana, the life force of God. See it clearly. Some guy just about to drive away and his dog was in the back and he's about to fly off the top of the truck. I go, your dog. And he just stopped and put the dog in the cab. That was nice. Otherwise, the dog would be. Anyway, so let's see. So this is what the deep green looks like in the winter. That's my little man cave covered in ice and snow. This is what it looks like on the inside. It's like the space station, Here's the deck. This was last winter before it really got winter. But it was pretty and nice. Here's my Forest Service road. And I actually shoveled that out. Because basically what I did up in the mountains, it's kind of just light snow. It goes on that road and turns it into ice. So I kind of go up with my shovel and just break the ice up and then move it around. And then when the sun hits it melts. But if I didn't do that, it'd be like a sheet of ice. Does anyone do it? This is my old bus. I drove across the United States with that bus twice. I went up into Canada with it. Drove it through Montreal. This is what it looks like snow, without leaves. Not so much the deep green, it's more the deep green. So I got a lot of these Christmas trees. I planted them, about 50 of them, all around the property. Some did better than others. And so most of my water, I do have like a spring or a spring box, and I have garden hoses taking it down the hill to me. And so for the garden hoses not to freeze up, I let it drip. So the dripping water turns into like ice sculpture. So here it is. I mean, it's cold, but it hadn't snowed, so there's the ice sculpture. Here I am inside the space shuttle. Beautiful. Here we are on the space station. Yep, up on the space station. So, 5 minutes in, 5 minutes and 5 seconds, and you got nothing to say? Okay. I mean, I was all ready to. Oh, there's one person. Is that you, AI? AI. I'm ready to come back to work. Right, ready to be a oracle for the corporate world. AI, just make sure I win the lottery before Halloween. It'd be nice to get out of here. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's great all year long. Like I just showed you some winter scenes. It's great there because if the sun comes out without a cloud, it hits the man cave and it actually heats it up. You're having your own lunch now? So, yes, I talk to him in Spanish. He doesn't recognize I exist. Anyway. Nobody's here. Well, there's no, if you don't show up now, there's no show today, right? So it's about 2 o'clock, right? Because I have to go from Mexico City back to the Deep Green, and my neighbors got family visiting, so I can't hang out on the fringes. So anyway, hope you're well, you know. I'll talk to you. Maybe I'm going to go see what's on the internet, and then I'll come back. So you stay there. See how my channel's doing. Oh, there I am live. Look at that. I like that picture. You like that? It's like I'm looking up at God. Yeah. Yeah, the average show does between 20 and 50 views. And a few, between 6 and 2 likes a show on the average. So, smash that thumbs up, that like button. The weather's changing. It kind of makes my joints get a little achy, especially if I sit in one place long enough. Anyway, so you be good now. Let's see what Scott Ritter has to say.
Well, if the Middle East isn't already descending into chaos, today is every evidence that it's about to even get worse with a massive attack across Lebanon with pagers exploding in the hands of Hezbollah officials, fighters, even.
So it's, Bibi wants to take the world with him. He knows he's a lost cause, and he's he's got this mojo on the United States. So we have 3 aircraft carrier groups, and so he wants to force the United States into having a war with Iran. Right? Now, if that happens, that's kind of not a big deal. We may lose an aircraft carrier, right? because they're just sitting ducks. They're out there in not open oceans. You know, the Red Sea, the Black Sea, the Mediterranean, both very narrow. You know, to turn one of those things, you can't turn them on a dime. I mean, our aircraft carriers are designed to be, they're called blue ocean um, navies, right? They're supposed to be way out in the middle of nowhere, so they can't get, and those aircraft can go deliver packages that can then fly on their own for 1,000 miles and take out anything the size of a card table with extreme violence. Anyway, so that's kind of where we're at. And, you know, Bibi wants to use nukes. He wants to nuke Lebanon. He wants to nuke Gaza. He wants to nuke Iran. He wants to nuke Saudi Arabia, right? And if that happens, that'll probably be one of the, you know, it'll rejigger the world geopolitics. And the folks, you know, I was just talking to some guy who thinks he knows everything just because he's a lawyer, banker, and every time I say them, who are them? And I said, you know, geopolitical strategic forces, and he can understand what that means. And so, you know, basically, it's obvious that, and I've been talking about this for the last 7 years. You know, go back to my shows and look for the big splat, right? I talked on that for at least 2 years, right? Back in 2020, 2019, I was talking about the big splat. And, you know, there's Kamala crying. No, I think that was Donald Trump. Oh, you know, that's something you might find interesting. Let's see if I can bring it up. I was listening to a thing called Fresh Air with Terry Gross, and they were interviewing these New York Times guys, and let's see if I can find this. Let's see if that's it. No, that's 4 minutes.
What are white people saying about all this? The Haitian Revolution has been described by scholars as an unthinkable moment, right? Because the Haitian Revolution.
No, Haitian Revolution.
Partner, but they had all decisions over finances, over what would be built, over who would be hired to build it. They were going off of undeveloped land. Too much fanfare when they finally moved in, and Donald Trump was unhappy about it. We'll be right back. This is Fresh Air. Support for WETS comes from the International Storytelling Center. This year's 52nd National Storytelling Festival will include their perennially featured Ghost Story Night. Storytellers Janice Del Negro and Megan Wells will join other featured tellers for 2 nights of fright on October 4th and 5th. Tickets at storytellingcenter.net.
So that's all I listened to. And luckily, that's public radio station.
And from Progressive Insurance, Progressive is looking for dedicated and forward-thinking individuals
And
to join
there's
their
the other thing I listen to is this Bible station that I think the guy is doing class. Yeah, that's always fun.
And from BritBox, looking to help people discover British dramas and mysteries, including The Responder starring Martin Freeman, and entire series like Sherlock and Vera. Streaming at BritBox.com/NPR. This is Fresh Air. Let's get back to my interview with Ruth Bootner and Suzanne Craig, authors of the new book, Lucky Loser, How Donald Trump Squandered His Father's Fortune and Created the Illusion of Success. They've been investigating Trump's finances ever since he campaigned for president in 2016. Let's talk about Trump Tower. One of the things I found really interesting about the Trump Tower section of your book is that there was a fire on the 20th floor during construction, and they had a rush to complete the building and make it on schedule. When residents started to move in, a lot of them decided to redecorate. Why were they so concerned and disappointed by the floors and the appliances in Trump. He had put in lower quality products in order to save money during the process. So he was selling these luxury apartment buildings, and they were luxury units. But when people started moving in, they couldn't believe the poor quality of the construction of things, or the appliances, the fridges, the stoves, that sort of thing. So a lot of them got renovated after the tenants had actually moved in, the owners had moved in. The fake marble, parquet, molded tile floors, not luxurious. No, it's interesting because people moving in found that, and then Donald Trump, of course, has a famous triplex in the building that he still owns today. And he had hired a very famous, a very serious designer, his wife had at the time, Ivana, to decorate it. It took years to do. It was beautifully done. It was written up in magazines, to much fanfare when they finally moved in. And Donald Trump was unhappy about it, so he ordered another renovation of it. And he ended up hiring a designer who was known for doing high roller suites at casinos. And that's how we end up with the apartment, the very gold-plated apartment that we have today. It was actually a second redo. And we talked to a lot of people involved in that renovation. They were very surprised that Donald Trump didn't like the initial renovation because it was so beautiful, but he wanted to hew to his taste, and he actually hired this fellow who was doing high roller suites at casinos. So we're talking about the 1980s here, because Trump Tower was finished, I think, in 1982.
Well, I'm kind of define Donnie. So his first wife, Ivanka's mom, basically made this beautiful place, and basically everyone thought it was the most amazing thing, but it wasn't Donnie's aesthetic. So when he got divorced, he ripped it apart and turned it into the gold shithole that it is now. He wanted to be above everyone, so instead of having the highest apartment, he had them build his thing. That's why instead of having like 30-foot ceilings like the apartments below him have, he's got like 10-foot ceilings, and right above it is the air conditioning, so you can kind of hear the hum of the air conditioning in the elevators. And it's really, I was there once when we did the lobby, and they had the big party, and we went up there for that. And anyway, good luck with it. That's all I got to say. I'm going to go back to the deep green and just enjoy watching the leaves turn. Come and talk to you here and now in other moments. But unless you guys, the shows aren't going to work unless you guys show up. Right? I'll give it enough time for, 20 minutes should be more than enough for somebody to show up and I can have a conversation with. And so, tell little stories, play a little radio. And those guys, so they're, and I only played to that to give you the dynamics of here these guys did this big story on Donnie and who he was and blah, blah, blah. And they've been following him for 10 years. So they really drilled down on him, where he came from, his relationship with his father, his father never spent a nickel that he didn't have. He didn't ever, why he ended up when he died having $200 million that then Donald frittered away, because he wasn't a billionaire. I'm a billionaire. No, what he did was he lived the style of a billionaire, and most billionaires don't live that style. He did it as an aesthetic, image but no substance. That's Donald Trump, image but no substance. There are all these people around America who told, look, he's so rich, he must be cool, blah, blah, blah. Image, no substance. Has he read a book? No. What part of the Bible do you like? Oh, I like it all. Well, nobody. Me, I read the Bible all the time, every day, right? So I do have favorite spots, I like Numbers, I like Deuteronomy, I like Exodus. the New Testament's cool, but see, the New Testament is so stretched out in esoteric code. So is the Old Testament. The Old Testament's from the the Torah, and the Torah was Hebrew nation had three books: the Torah, the Tabla, and the Kabbalah. Well, Torah is for everybody, and if you're going to read the Bible, you've got to read it in Greek, because back in the day when it was being written, put down, the people wrote it down, wrote it in Greek. I mean, the Jews didn't know Hebrew. It's like most non-Catholic Christian religions don't have sacrament. It takes too much. It takes too much time. Like my Ku Klux Klan Southern Baptist Church, they do sacrament 3 or 4 times a year. This is a gift God gave. Jesus gave us. Why don't we do this every Sunday? Oh, it takes too much effort. Blah blah blah. Really? Oh, that's what you think of your soul. Too much effort. Oh, it's too much effort for you to go get some crackers and Welch's grape juice. Okay. Meaning that guy who calls himself a minister doesn't have the confidence to do it. It's basically what it is. Right? Because he really doesn't believe. I mean, that's why he's stopped me from talking in the church. I mean, I can't talk about the Bible anymore. I can come to Bible studies, but I can't say anything. So I just go there and go like this. Without blinking, without breathing. I sit there for an hour, just. And I kind of sit. I used to sit up in the peanut gallery, and but now I sit up in the front, right next to him when he's teaching. I'm like looking at him like, I'm just a cheeky monkey. If you're a Buddhist, Buddha of the monkeys, meaning everything is broken up into different metaphors, and the different spiritual teachers. Buddha was a monkey. He was a cheeky little monkey. I don't believe a word I say. Okay, here it is, 22 minutes and 17 seconds. See how time flies? When I noticed the time the last time and said I'd give you 20 minutes to get here and say something, and at least somebody left me a thumbs up. That was a nice gesture. But nothing has changed. The world. If you read, no one reads anything. I read everything, right? And not just people who are academics. I have a bunch of academic friends, and they always love to try to let's test Al. And so they ask me questions, and I give them my insight on it, and they kind of like, I should go Google it, and it's always, my God, he was so telling the truth. I can't believe it. So but academics are stuck on one thing, their expertise, right? But they don't know squat about anything else. So it's always kind of interesting to see what it is. So anyway, hope you guys are good. I'm gonna go. Since there's no one, but there's one of you. Aren't you going to say something? If you say something, I'll stick around. If you're not going to say anything, I'm heading back to the deep green. I'm going to leave Mexico City here. And you go, Santiago, how did you get to Mexico City? Didn't take an airplane, didn't take a bus, didn't drive. Nope, I kind of walked through a portal, and bingo, here I am in Mexico City. And I'm going to do the same going back to the deep green. Right? And you could do it too. I've been starting off to bring you into a guided meditation, but everyone left. It's like too hard. It's too hard to breathe. I can't breathe. Can't breathe. Well, wait till they can't breathe. Wait till our atmosphere is like Venus. Venus is our cousin. It used to be just like us. And then, oops, something happened. And now it's like, 200 degrees Celsius or hotter. And, the atmosphere is sulfuric acid. Tasty. Right? I wonder what happened. Anyway. So, unless somebody jumps in, there's nobody here now, so I'm going to go. Okay, kids, it's always fun. Hope you enjoyed watching this later. And thanks for the thumbs up. How about some comments?